Greetings, everybody there out there, at all of y'all out there in internet land. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here today on a live broadcast. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, okay? And we could be on even more if you just share. But today we got a real special treat. MICFI, meaning the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival, we like to do a few different things that some festivals don't do, some festivals do. But we also have a documentary section, and our documentary section has been with us since day one. Credit to Miles Kane and Josh Corey from Brooklyn Underground Studios, long time ago. And here we are 11 years later, and we are still showing documentary films. Today we have Mr. Jeff Carroll. Mr. Jeff Carroll from the United States. He has a documentary film called Why I Love Sci-Fi. He has been an incredible person involved in the Comic-Con or comics or sci-fi literature world for many years. He's also a filmmaker, and this is his first documentary film. So we were really fortunate to have stumbled upon it and added him to our list of amazing content this season. And he's joining us today. So let's bring him on board and let's have a nice long chat with him. Hey.
Good morning. Hello, world. I don't know if it's morning everywhere, but it's beautiful to be all over the world at once. Thank you in this sci-fi, situation here to be able to talk to you, Troy. So it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, man. It's good to have you. And we'd like to start off by saying that congratulations for being in the festival. You actually was a rather influential speaker last season and was awarded one of our highest awards. And it was because of your ability to converse and discuss, or let's say have discord with some of the most controversial and deep and thought-provoking topics of humanity in this age. And I thought, after seeing this for several years in the making, that you are a leader in that and could be a voice for a lot of people. And I think that's quite significant. So today, let's learn a little bit more about you and the documentary. And we're gonna keep it light because we don't want to get all political about a lot of stuff. We will get technical, but we won't get too. Yeah, your mic is still too hot. It's really hot. So I know a lot of the topics get emotional, and you might raise your voice, but you're not gonna be able to do it with that mic. You're gonna kill us. So let's first start off by tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got started in this, and when did all this happen? Uh-oh. There we go. Pull the plug. God blew a fuse. Oh my goodness. Maybe we should take a commercial break. What do you think, folks? We'll take a short break. Just short break. Short break.
try to fly, you pull me into your atmosphere, tearing me apart. Empty and cold, lost and alone, I still feel your gravity, drifting along. Yeah, I know you're gone, but I need you like gravity, gravity. We were the bright stars in the sky. Knew we had to burn out to survive. Known from the start. Empty and cold, lost and alone, I still feel your gravity, drifting along. Yeah, I know you're gone, but I need you like gravity. Empty and cold, lost and alone, I still feel your gravity, drifting along. Yeah, I know you're gone, but I need you like gravity, gravity, gravity. I know you're no good for me. You're the only one, something I still need. You got me revolving around your sun. Empty and cold, lost and alone, I still feel your gravity, drifting along. Yeah, I know you're gone, but I need you like gravity. Empty and cold, lost and alone, I still feel your gravity, drifting along. Yeah, I know you're gone, but I need you like gravity, gravity.
All right, all right. How was that, ladies and gentlemen? Hope everybody enjoyed that. And welcome back, Jeff. How you doing?
Man, I'm in a more secure environment. I had to go back into my bunker.
Man, more secure environment. So whereabouts are you? In Florida at this time?
Yeah, yes, I'm in my house in South Florida, and I
Okay.
was actually working on a sci-fi comic book. So hopefully that, everything comes together with that. We'll see that later this year.
Okay, great, great. Did you share this on Instagram?
Yeah, my Instagram is about 2,000 strong. So
Okay, good. Maybe somebody
it'll-
will pick it up
yes.
because this is a live feed here. So, all right. So tell us a little bit about you, Jeff. How'd you get started in this? Oh, before I forget, everybody, hope you enjoyed that music video. That was Jonathan Martin. He is a awesome sci-fi filmmaker, but more importantly, he's the director of Film Quest, which is also one of the largest sci-fi festivals on earth.
Oh
And
wow.
you should send your film there, okay? Send him.
Oh,
Send.
what time of the year is that?
I want to say Jonathan is in the fall.
Okay, so I have time.
It's no, you don't have time. Send it.
No, I'm saying I can still get to it. Yeah,
You can
it
get to it.
hasn't passed. You
And
trying to raise my blood pressure, my brother? If it hasn't closed, I got time. So no,
yeah,
I'll get on it. I can do it
um,
this weekend.
and it's located in Provo, Utah. Very nice place. and it's great. The town gives him all the space to have his festival.
That's beautiful.
It's totally the opposite of Miami. So you're gonna have an amazing, wonderful experience. So, all right, Jeff, tell us what's going on with you, man. How did you get? How did you?
This is like a documentary is really just a video memoir, autobiography, or message. So it wasn't something that I scripted out of my imagination to put together. My documentary is a commentary. It's an up close and personal look at me as a creator, as an accumulation of answered questions that I get all the time, specifically like the one you asked me. How did I get into science fiction? Well, how I got into science fiction is just by being curious and finding answers to questions that I have been asking through science fiction. So I am a curious person, but I want to know how the world will end, how life is in outer space. I like quantum physics, so I like the small things. I like the big and the small. And, I'm not so concerned with what's around the corner, so I'm not so terrestrial and crime fiction. I'm more science fiction. I want to know what would happen if these type of things different from the norm actually happen. So that's really what it was. And, I'm a Black creator, and I think for a large amount of Black people, we've had other things on our agendas. So our big brain people were trying to figure out how to get us out of our oppressive situation, racism, segregation, all of that. And, I respect that. And it's, been very recent that we've had a feeling that we could concern ourselves with other things, So there's some big brain people that have got out of the social situations of Black people and started speculating about what will happen with atomic energy and things like that. I mean, we even played a role in that. But the rest of us, now after Obama, felt free to be able to explore these other scenarios. And we're still shedding that skin, and within the last 10 years, we've seen a wave. It's almost like a rush of speculative fiction writers that are Black, thinking beyond, just the paranormal, beyond the Conan and Black African empires. Now they're starting to think of space. Now they haven't gotten quite to the post-apocalyptic environment yet, but they're moving towards that. Then will come the space fantasies. So that's who I am, and that's how I fit into this world, of science fiction, that is.
No, awesome. We've got some comments here. Some people are joining us on Instagram. Morning coffee and morning sci-fi conversation. Awesome.
That's right.
We also have here, let's see, we've got how many people we have? We're also tied into Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So
I shared it on my Facebook, so that's good.
That's
and
awesome.
That's Instagram and Facebook.
Yes. So what is where? Oh man, you've answered pretty much here. So let's talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on as you've gone through this process. Folks. Jeff he's not a novice. Okay, he's been making sci-fi film for quite sci-fi and horror. Let's get that right, because you're real deep in the horror franchise as well. And I think your first film was a horror. Was it correct?
Yeah, practically all of my films have been horror, except my second film was picked up by the urban community. So although it sounds like a horror, Gold Digger Killer, it became more of a urban crime fiction, 70s slasher, Foxy Brown meets Death Wish, So, but all my other films are horror. I have one that's like Jordan Peele's Get Out. It's a thriller,
right.
But that's still horror. But yeah, I've been sticking to the low budget horror, and I am trying to think of a visual that fits me. So
Mhm.
I like to say I'm the biggest thing under the radar. So like, if you were to see the radar, like if you pull the radar back, I'm like the biggest thing under the radar.
Right,
I've done so
right.
many things, but I don't mind. I mean, there's other creators that I even take influence from that have been patiently waiting and building their catalog. And,
Yeah,
it's not like they bust out with their first project. They may have 20, 30 projects before, they have that kind of commercial recognition.
yeah, yeah. The biggest thing under the radar. You gotta put that on the shirt, man. That's awesome. I like
I
that. I like no because it's kind of hard to add it up, and a lot of people don't add those things up. But if you look at, there's a number of films, and Jeff, you're in the theater every weekend just about. But how many movies that are seen? When I say seen, a bunch of people go see it.
right.
Do you think take place every month?
I would say that if there's uh, two movies in the theater each week,
Mhm.
that's what, 8 movies. One is a blockbuster, one is a rewatch, and one kind of just survives because people like going to the theater. So
Yeah.
that's 2 movies a week. And then you may have now the streaming platforms where there's maybe 2 or 3 movies a month. So it's about 13 movies come out a month.
Okay. So let's round it up and say that 20 watching films that masses of people see every month.
Yes.
20. They're probably, I would say, in the indie world, there's that equivalent every week,
Oh, yes. Easy.
every week, every week of content, and it's probably way more than that. And when we look at the residual numbers, the equivalent of people that say watch them. For example, I'll ask you this question: how many people are in the theater when you're there watching your film?
Well, there's at least one blockbuster that has sold out 3 screenings, easy
Right,
every week. Every week.
right.
There's at least one that comes out where it's sold out.
Oh wow. Okay. So we're talking big theater or little theater?
I'm talking big theater. And let me
Hun-
say, there's
180.
also a weekend where there's no sellout. So let's say 3 of those weekends, because
Mhm,
April was good. We had Kong, we had a couple of good ones,
mhm,
over the
mhm,
week, over the
mhm,
month,
mhm, mhm.
but we do run into a week where,
I think there's a lot of those,
but
but
then
the
you
point.
have the summer that makes up for it, where,
That's right.
you have 3 movies a week that come out and people just
Right.
killing it over the summer.
That's right. That's right. And that's also leads to the fact that the weather's nicer. People feel better about it, the weather, because it does have an influence on people's
Yeah.
behavior.
Some
So
people
people
just
go
don't
out.
want to go out. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. When the weather's icky, people don't go out. They just go home. So yeah, I get that. And I think that's reflected on the point that I'm trying to make, the amount of viewership that's out there in the indie world. Not the big blockbuster at the AMC's or the Royales or all these other different theaters. But as far as the small content theaters out there, streaming or small theater, primarily streaming, really many theaters they won't take people's content unless you're spending bucks or there's some sort of big nonprofit involved, and it's a one timer event.
Right.
You know, Especially here in South Florida. In South Florida, it's extremely difficult and extremely expensive to get your hands on one of those theaters,
Right.
regardless who you are. So and that's what makes us at MeCFI so special because we have access to a theater that we utilize and we try to get the word out to the local community to hey, come check out some really really good content, and that within itself is a challenge. So can you share with us, what was your favorite part? What's your favorite part of filmmaking? What do you like most about making films? Because I know you do many parts of making a film. You're all in that. But what's your favorite part?
I mean, it all depends on the money, right? Because
Hmm.
filmmaking isn't just, it's not free. So when
Right.
you go to production and you have to stick within a budget, it isn't always easy. But, you know,
Right.
the scheduling and putting together different things and casting is really fun. And those are things that I've been doing that I did when I was in my 20s that got me
Mhm.
into filmmaking was putting the production together.
Yes.
Then I learned how to write, and I think that is still my favorite. But I just learned editing, and
Hmm.
I may not have. I taught myself how to edit over the quarantine, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty good. You know, I did my documentary. This was my experiment doing everything, and I still got a little help from some people like editors to correct my mistakes. But for the most part, it was all me. And there is a joy in editing, and I think once I learned editing, it brought the whole filmmaking process
Hmm.
together for me because now I see the editing while I'm writing. I see
Good.
the editing while I'm shooting and casting.
Yes.
And then it all comes together. In the same way, when I'm writing, I see my editing, I see my
Yes.
casting. So,
Yes.
but I still like the story creation itself. You know,
Yes. Yes.
um, I think writing is probably the best because that's where the ideas live.
Yes.
Everything else is just exploiting the writing that you've already set. You know, you cast this good person. Now you're like, oh, you brought the character that I created to life. Your special effects, you brought that boom sequence in my head to
Yeah.
life. But
Yeah.
it was created in my head and on the paper. So I still like the idea of creation.
Yes.
I even like for what it's worth making trailers. I
You even like
mean,
what?
making trailers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I love that process. I like designing the poster and the promo as well.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, so and I can design. I do Photoshop pretty good, but it's not the Photoshop skills. Those are just technicals. What makes the poster good is the imagination that directs the Photoshop. So you got
Right.
to have
Right.
that imagination. That's why I'm not afraid of AI because in robots can't compete with my imagination.
That's good. That's good to know. That was a hot topic last night, and I encourage people to remember that we're a 24-hour, really 21-hour, but we're a 24-hour operation, and we have team members all over the planet. So when we get on the internet or we schedule an interview, don't take it in your mind that these guys are in Miami. They're only going to be on Miami time. So last night we were on Malaysian time. Okay, the show started at 12:30 at night, and for the folks on the Pacific Rim that want to get involved and participate without being too inconvenienced. So, and this morning is early. This morning is for Europe as well as North America, and South America. We have another slot coming up. Same thing.
Hola.
So, yeah, hola. That's right. Out of Miami, everybody speaks a little Spanish. Okay, that's
South
that's the
America,
goal.
baby.
That's right. Miami is the capital of South America. Don't you forget that.
Okay.
No, so but let's go to what were the biggest challenges. Actually, before we go there, Jeff, let's take a look at the trailer. Can we take a look at the trailer?
Sure. Let's go.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome. This is Jeff Carroll, pioneering science fiction writer, comic book creator, and filmmaker. And it's my pleasure to present my first documentary, Why I Love Sci-Fi. This documentary is a product of years of me wearing my I Love Sci-Fi t-shirt and having to explain to people what science fiction is and just talk to them about science fiction in general. In the documentary, I'm going to explain what science fiction is, what black science fiction is, some of the challenges that creators like myself and the genre in whole have confront, and then also going to talk about where I think science fiction is going and where black science fiction is going. You'll also get a behind the scenes look at me as a creator, the things that I do, motives behind the things that I write, and just a little inside look at me. The film was actually shot 100% on my cell phone. So get ready. If you don't know what science fiction is, you only had ideas, you just watch comic book movies, you like Dune or whatever. So get a hold of yourself, have a seat, and enjoy why I love sci-fi.
There it is, people. There it is. All right. Now that was good, Jeff. One of the nice things about documentary films is that they tend to be at a pace that we are comfortable at ingesting. So the ones that you like are at a pace that you're comfortable with ingesting. That's the documentary, scope out there. And Jeff is telling his story. And if you haven't seen the film yet, it is on the Roku channel. I know it's been added to the Roku channel for this weekend. It's in the queue for this weekend, so you will be able to get it. And one point I want to make out with the Roku channel, there are perks this weekend. So you may see a price that says $29 or $39, whatever. You jump in, you're going to get a discount. This weekend is a discount. I want to say there's about a 50% discount this weekend. So that will make your subscription quite affordable. There may be even a $10 perk. So if there's a $10 perk now, the festival costs you only $5. So take advantage of that, because I know that's limited. After that's used up, it's going to disappear, and you're going to be looking at the $39 with a discount, which is going to end up being twice the price for you. So take advantage. There are probably somewhere between 40 to 50 films on there. You have to have Roku, which means you can't watch it with your phone. You have to have a TV, and your TV either is a smart TV that has the app that you could download with your controller. You download the app just like you download the Hulu channel or the Disney channel or whatever channel that you download in order to run, or you have a set-top box, which these days a set-top box is about half the size of this. So, and that's what you plug into the TV, and it goes on the wireless network, whether that wireless network is running through your phone or that wireless network is running through your Comcast or your AT&T fiber or Verizon fiber optic files. So take advantage of it, because you're going to get really good content, high quality, and learn about all the films that we have from 30 different countries this year. So it's a real winner. All right. Well, look, Jeff, tell us what are we, how do you, okay, looking forward, are there any genres, roles, or types of projects that you're particularly eager to explore? What's next on the horizon that you really are itching to make?
Well, let's talk about what I haven't finished doing yet, and that is the post-apocalypse. It started with, when I got into science fiction, I wanted to write in every genre because I liked every subgenre of science fiction. And I hadn't seen Black creators playing in all of those different sandboxes. And I picked disaster stories, like disaster movies. And I wrote a story called The Harlem Shake, which was about an earthquake that hit the world. And I told it through the perspective of people in Harlem. I found out there was a fault line that ran right on 125th Street. And I said, wow, I don't have to call it Black earthquake. Because how do you have a black earthquake? Um,
What, it only hits black people?
right? It's like God is racist. Wait a minute. I've given the white people enough earthquakes. So I said, let me show one that hits Harlem, because Harlem sounds black without saying black, right? Even though it's being regentified now and it may not be that black, it still has that history. And that story became maybe one of one black disaster stories that I know of. And I wanted to write a sequel, but what is a sequel to a global disaster? A post-apocalyptic story. And I gave birth to a Harlem Shake post-apocalyptic universe. And I got up to book 3 before the quarantine hit. And it was sort of hard for writers of books to independent writers who made their money promoting their books and selling their books at in-person events, right? These are people that, may spend money on advertisement, but you don't really buy the book until you meet the person, right? So book signings are really big for independent. So I couldn't do it anymore. And I started writing a universe spinoff into a comic book. Right. And it took me about 2 years to finish it with the illustrator, and another year to kind of find a publishing home for it. And it is my first series of any of my comics to be published by another publisher. Everything that I've done has been self-published. This is my first book. I've had stories in anthologies, but never a series. And it's, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, we can
The
see
Last Harlemite. And that hits comic book stores through Diamond this August. You'll see it in the July, I think it's the June or July previews magazine. And it's 4 books, and I'm still writing in it. So after this season, this summer, I actually start writing the second volume, because I want to see, they want to see how the sales are going to be. So it's a 4-part series, and we should be able to get the second series out next year. So this one ends, I think, around November, December, and then the novel will come out, and then we'll do part 2. And bless you. And and then I want to go back in to finishing the Harlem Shake series. I was just watching Fallout, the series on Amazon. If you haven't checked it out, it's a video game series about a girl coming out of a bunker after a atomic bomb holocaust, right? And you have a lot of radiation fallout, you have a lot of things going on, and it plays out everything. It plays out why they decided to do it, how they got the people to go into the bunkers, the politics between all of it. So it's not just like The Walking Dead where you don't know what caused the zombies. In Fallout, all of that is important. So as much as it is a aesthetic science fiction story, there is a social science element to it, because then you formulate people's opinions about why. Now, my post-apocalypse is by global warming, the changes on the earth, how people lived. So, of course, there are going to be people that have philosophical opinions about why the earth ended. And I think that's the beauty of science fiction, is that it's not something, oh, look at the beautiful mutated people. No, it's not only that. It's right, or the kill scene, or the cool, road warrior, where you have these cool cars. That's aesthetics, and I love the aesthetics. But getting into the social sciences, like the questions that I ask, and I'm pretty sure you asked, Troy, which are the hard science fiction questions. How the heck did this happen? You know what I'm saying? Right. What can we do to avoid it? Or who caused it and why? How did we get to conflict to the point where we drop bombs on each other and destroy the planet. So yeah, I'm not just into the beautiful mutated people and the aberrations that are started because of the explosion. I get into why, and that's my Harlem Shake.
hmm hmm Well, definitely one thing is very important is that the planet will not be destroyed. It will move on.
Absolutely.
Look what happened to the dinosaurs. You know, they lived several hundred million years and were hit by numerous cosmic fallouts that, exogenic forces that literally, regardless how strong and powerful and resilient they eventually were turned into little chickens. You know?
Right. The iguanas, tree chickens, right?
No, chickens.
Right. Absolutely.
Birds
Absolutely.
are the dinosaurs. So that's
Absolutely.
all that's left from them. And
So let me go
go on, please. Yeah.
let me go directly to your question. What am I looking forward to? I say it in my film, and I'll just go into a little bit more in depth. I actually am excited that this year we're having a birth of the larger Black and African science fiction community coming together in an anthology called Space Funk. And it's about to launch a Kickstarter. And the writer, the editor, Milton Davis, who's putting it together, is humbly doing it. But I think it is a seismic change in the science fiction community. Independent writers are the offer of future to any genre of writing, because we've had in publishing strong gatekeepers that would say, no, vampires are in right now. No, zombies are in right now. We're not going, the book is fabulous, but we're not going to green like that because that trend has passed. You have another True Blood. Nobody wants to, their zombies are, vampires are over. So with independent writers, they are the ones that get the inspiration to write about something and to heck with the trends, right? That's why sometimes they make money, sometimes they don't. But because of that, you get different types of stories. So like for years, Bea books, Tor books have been dominating science fiction writing. And they've been turning their nose up to diversity, writers of diversity. And even only recently did they handpick certain people. And it really didn't connect with those communities. I think this science fiction space funk is going to connect with Black and writers of color and the world simultaneously. I think what made it's called space. Huh?
I tried to do a search on it. Do you have a link?
Yes, MV Media. It hasn't come out yet. MV Media Space Funk. Space Funk, one word. He's about to launch the Kickstarter. It's been under the wraps for a while, and I mention it in my documentary so I can put it out. But what I think it's going to do is going to be like Black Panther. And understand, Black Panther wasn't new to the Black community, but what it did was it brought the world into the realm of Black science fiction simultaneously. It's one thing to be give you an example, like a Chinese creator who creates something that Chinese people love. Yes, but when you are a Chinese creator and something you create is loved by both Chinese people and loved by the greater community, that's when you crossed over and you blew up. A lot of the Black writers that these major publishers have brought in have really just entertained the mainstream science fiction community, and the bulk of Black people haven't really are aware of them. I think Space Funk will cross over instantaneously.
Okay, that's promising. I don't see the Kickstarter up, but
oh no, it's not up yet. But you may see it on MV Media's page. But He's only released a poster, no real major announcements. It's coming this month, he says. Sorry, May. I'm already in the future.
Hey, that's not a common. That's not uncommon over here. Okay, that's not
Okay. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming in May.
wonderful, wonderful. So we're coming to a close here, but
Yeah.
I'd like to chat a little bit about how do you view the evolution of film and storytelling with the advent of new technologies and platforms? How do you think this shapes opportunities for actors and filmmakers?
Well, I am an optimistic person. So as much as I saw the AI Caitlin Clark, I don't know if you saw that interview. It was two things that happened this week, right? They
Oh
did
no,
it.
not the big
Okay, two things that happened this week. They did an interview of Caitlin Clark. I actually might have been a week ago, where she was talking junk towards Angel Reese and the WNBA. But the
Okay, you're
total,
you're talking about somebody that we should know. You're talking
okay,
about this is a person who is that this is from the person who is like the WNBA or about to go into the WNBA.
yeah, she was the top girl basketball player in college,
Yes.
and she's a phenom, right? Changing the game in America, right?
Yeah.
And somebody created a AI image of her, duplicated her AI using AI, her voice, and made a false video of her creating conflict in the basketball community. And that was like, it's only playing around, and she came on her platforms and straightened and cleared the air. But there was another video came out also. This was just a song where it was, I think it was Drake or another rapper going after Drake. And if you know, he's a Canadian rapper that is really big in around the world. Drake is one of the biggest rappers in the world. They do these battle raps, and somebody used AI technology to make an artificial beat, artificial voice, and they use AI to write the rhymes artificially. It was so good that people and fans thought it was a real Drake song. And I don't think it's Drake. I think it was another rapper going after Drake. So
Wow.
I'll say this in respect to your question. We're very concerned about AI and people believing things, because if they can do it to a global rap star and the number one girl basketball player, they can do it to Trump, they can do it to Biden, they can do it to Osama bin Laden, people that are not even alive anymore. And people might feel that these things are real. We live in a flat earther community, environment, society, where it's a thing. It's not one person anymore. There's a community of flat earthers, and they have conventions. So these are people that are able to believe things that don't have facts to support them. So I'm optimistic amidst all of that chaos, right? I will say this. What do I look forward to in the future of science fiction development? I think the future is going to be black. Let me say that, right? Number one, I think because of Spotify, because of YouTube, how about this? Because of StreamYard, right? It has allowed the independent film festivals, creators, to have a more equal platform. And that first step that may have had to cost you lots of money is now as easy as doing an Instagram video, and you can create a following, and then you can start to build on that. So I think the end of gatekeepers is a real cool thing for us to experience.
Yeah, you're saying that the institutions and people who are in control have
Yes.
lost control or are losing control,
Or have now
in
competition.
in
You
particular
still have record companies, right?
Yeah.
You still have record companies, but you can make your first million on your own if you're a rap artist. Before, you would have had to go into debt having a record company sign you and give you an advance. Now you can go online and make $1 million
Yeah,
if you're good.
you probably know the guy, because I was listening to a show last week, and they were talking about some guy on social media who makes 100,000 a month.
Yes.
Young guy, he's like 21 years old, something like that. Makes 100 grand. He's been making 100 grand a month for quite a while.
And these aren't, so people like to always focus on the OnlyFans and the IG girls, models and stuff like that. There are kids, like I had a kid in my school that was making $1,000 a week on YouTube.
More than the teacher's salaries.
Right. You know, how do you instruct somebody like that? You know, you got to corral them. You know, education was playing catch up, but he's not every student. So, you know, as much as Angel Reese, like Angel Reese is another girl basketball player. She's not an OnlyFans model. She's an American basketball player. She was making $1.3 million her last year in college.
That's amazing.
Because college, that's amazing. And she's just showing people how she shoots. She has a pretty face, but she doesn't show, she's not on there twerking. You know, she's not, it's not salacious. If you salacious, you know, if you're into it, that's you, but she's doing no more different videos than you and me doing right now. And she shows people how she shoots. She may show some people, oh, look, I got this new sneaker endorsement. That's it. She's just showing a slice of life. She has a reality show. That's really all it is. Right.
Wow. Well, that's amazing, man. I'm just put back because, you know, these 11 plus, and it's really a lot more than plus. You know, it's 11 years for the festival, but prior to the festival, there was a lot of filmmaking that, you know, I was very, very fortunate, and being in the right place at the right time, doing the one thing that made a big difference. You know, one day you're gonna have to interview me. So anyway,
yes, I was waiting on that. You know, the last interview that we had, I actually was hinting at that, and I was like, you definitely got to share a lot, and I hope I am big, imaginative enough to be able to interview you and pull out. However, you know, that's why I kind of did my documentary, because I was like, in my area, I don't know somebody that could interview me and get out what I need to get out for this particular subject. So you might have to pick a subject to be interviewed on, because like, you know, like me, I'll be like, so you grew up in Queens with this and this and that. Be like, hold on, Jeff. Hold on, Jeff. We're talking science fiction.
But that's really important. That's really important you mentioned that. And as a result, I think we're going to do a part 2. We're going to do a part 2 because there's still so many. I got a bunch of questions here that I'm supposed to ask. And there's still a lot more to discuss. And the last thing I'll say with that, two things. One is Star Trek or Star Wars, but don't answer that. And you're just gonna say yes, no, or maybes. But in particular with Queens, New York. Okay, most folks don't know. Most folks, I don't like to say it that way. Most folks should know. That's what should be said. Most folks should know that the overwhelming creativity, the overwhelming technological influences, the overwhelming culture comes out of Queens, and let's just say the outer boroughs in New York City.
Okay.
The outer boroughs, everything.
So that's Brooklyn, that's the Bronx, because
it's Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Queens.
So you don't consider Manhattan the outer borough?
No, Manhattan's not the outer boroughs. Manhattan is the borough that when people talk about New York City, they only think of Manhattan.
That's right.
That, you know, because some maps only say that, but New York City is 5 boroughs.
I got you. And you know, I'm really big on the big 3, Brooklyn, Bronx, and Queens. You know, I don't really consider Staten Island, you know.
I know you go to Staten Island. This is New York. What was it? You know, the weeds and stuff,
And the
swamp.
same thing. I mean, I love De La Soul and Public Enemy, but Long Island, is that even a borough? What is Long Island?
Long Island is a glacial relief. No, but Long Island, you know, it's funny because people would say it's not the Bronx, it's the boogie down Bronx. And some
Right.
people say it's not Long Island, it's Strong Island. Yeah, you
Yes.
gotta hold on to that damn steering wheel for all that highway you gotta drive to get to home
Uh,
every afternoon.
yes.
You know, and it's funny because it all evolved in a certain way. You just gotta speak to your local architect. Speak with your local architect and developer that's got got a couple of decades of knowledge to tell you how New York City evolved over the 20, 30 years. And you'll be surprised at who's from there and what happened. Because
All right.
it's becoming something else now. But anyway, man, we got to go
You
because
want my answer to the question? Star
well,
Wars or Star Trek?
yeah, Star Wars, Star Trek. Just say,
I
and we'll go into why later.
Okay. So neither, but both, because I'm Star Trek Discovery and I'm Mace Windu. Um,
Excuse me. Okay.
yes, and I hope the day, which is coming soon, Rebel Moon didn't do it, but
Right.
maybe Expanse will. There will become another star space universe that rivals those two big two. But Star Wars has been very dominant, and so has Star Trek. They are like Marvel and DC, but I think they're more uh, dis- they're more dissimilar than Marvel and DC, because Marvel and DC really copied off each other. Um, Star Wars and Star Trek are their own lanes, and I love them. I love them both. And did you hear that Star Trek is coming back with a fourth movie?
Oh, we got to go.
Okay.
Yes, I did, but we got to go. Time's
All
up.
right.
We got to go. Jeff, thank you so much. There's going to be a part 2
All right.
later this week. Late at night, part 2.
Okay.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us here. Jeff, stand by, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us here. This was a really exciting time, and we're so thankful for Jeff who jumped on board. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And that's it for now. We're signing out.